Coming to you live from our studio in Atlanta, Georgia, this is the A1 Trading Daily Show. Whether markets are rising or falling, we're here to keep you up to date with the latest market news. Join us as we trade currencies, commodities, and indices live, Monday through Friday.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream back in the markets for a new week. And as always, joined by the reporter himself, Mr. James. How's it going, James? Welcome back.
Good to be back. How you doing, Nick?
Good. How was your weekend?
Weekend is good. We got to catch up with Frank, had some hot dogs by the pool. That was fun. And we have started the process of watching Over the Farm. I don't know if I told you about that, but we my girlfriend and I are watching over her boss's house, which is more like a farm than a house sometimes.
You're back to doing that. You did that before, so you're doing it again now.
I have done it before, doing it again. I have kind of a crazy story, short crazy story if you'd like to hear it.
Please.
So the reason I say it's a farm is because it's a very nice house. Her boss has an amazing house. 5 dogs. They've got some chickens, some ducks, all kinds of fun stuff over there. But the dogs like to mess with the chickens. And we let the dogs into the backyard, and the chickens are out. We did not realize that the chickens were kind of in the bushes near the house. And once the dogs found that out, they start running after the chickens as they would. And one of these chickens decides to jump up onto the fence. So now we're having a crisis because it's, on one side of the fence is the backyard where we would like the chicken to stay. On the other side is just be free chicken. Right. So I make my way to the other side of the house to try and scare the chicken back to the other side of the fence. And by the time I get over there, chicken has already hopped to the other side of the fence. And we spent the next half hour trying to corral a uncooperative chicken back into the backyard. But we did it successfully. So
that's amazing. James, I don't really see you as a chicken person, to be completely honest, but it is a hilarious image because if you guys are not familiar, James is a very tall man. He is over what are you 6'7"? Is that right? Or 6?
I am 6'7". It's hard to tell in this little webcam. In the webcam, yes. I look like I'm 5'4", but
so picture 6'7" man run around chasing chickens.
I can tell you this: chicken does not care how tall you are. Chicken will walk right past you and could not care less because chicken has to deal with the dogs, and the dogs are apparently a lot scarier than I am.
That's fair. They're very fast, I guess. So, James, tell me a little bit. What are we looking at market-wise here? We've got people funneling into the live stream. Welcome, everybody. We are taking a look at the week ahead. What's on the watch list, James, for us in terms of you've got your Forex Factory pulled up? What are we looking at?
Yeah, so nothing today, but at 2 a.m. tonight over here on the East Coast, we do have the climate count change over in the UK. And then Tuesday, so tomorrow morning, we will have CPI numbers over here in the US. So that'll be a big one. We actually have a really action-packed week this week with 3 days in a row. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are going to be big streaming days. So like I said, Tuesday, CPI at 8:30. Wednesday, we do have GDP for the UK again at 2 a.m. over here on the East Coast. But we do have PPI at 8:30, followed by FOMC at 2. So we are going to hear from Jerome Powell in the Federal Reserve about the new United States interest rate. Currently sits at 5.25%, forecasted to remain unchanged at 5.25%. But it'll be an interesting one because the Bank of Canada and the Bank of Australia, I believe, were the other one. had some interesting interest rate reports. The Bank of Canada had an unexpected rate hike last week. So some of the other central banks are looking a little bit more hawkish. Could that influence the Federal Reserve's decision at all? I don't know. We'll just have to see. But yeah, PPI and FOMC happening on Wednesday. So that'll be a big one. We also have some other things like New Zealand GDP, Australian unemployment rate, all happening after we'll be out of the office. So can't live stream for that, unfortunately. But then on Thursday, again, another big day. We have the Euro area, the European interest rates right now currently sitting at 3.75%, expected to raise 25 basis points up to 4%. That's going to be at 8:15 a.m. Eastern time. And then following that, immediately after at 8:30, we have retail sales, unemployment claims, Empire State Manufacturing Index. And then even after that, we have the ECB, the European Central Bank press conference, where depending on what they say, maybe we could see a little bit of get a little bit of insight into their hawkishness, their dovishness, and we'll just have to monitor what they're saying there. And then following that, we actually have the Bank of Japan is also having their new interest rate decision Thursday night as well. And Friday, we are going to finish up with preliminary consumer sentiment. So a nice, easy stream to end out the week after a hectic Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday coming up.
Yep, James, thank you for all that. Of course, guys, it is going to be a very busy stream week. We'll be paying attention to a lot of things, including, of course, all the monetary policy stuff. We're going to be here for that, and hopefully giving you some good coverage around everything that is going down. James, as always, thank you for tuning in to the stream. A quick look at the markets here. They're already getting moving. So, James, we'll go ahead and jump into some charts. Thank you for coming on with the news, as always.
Yep, of course.
All right, guys. So we are taking a look at some stuff. I want to start out with just talking a little bit about where I'm positioned. I'm currently long S&P 500. We picked this up in the VIP last week. I went long S&P 500. You can see the reasoning why. Really simple technical breakdown here. Last week, there was a big resistance point on the S&P 500. As you can see, price action could not get over this area, wicked a few times over, but then it broke clean high. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, when it jumped up like this, I was a little bit frustrated. I was like, wow, I was really looking for sort of this move, right? A brief move, and then I would catch the explosion higher. So as you could probably imagine, I was a bit frustrated with this move because I was like, okay, hey, this thing's moving off without me. I didn't chase, I didn't enter, and I'm very glad that I didn't, because I was able to get my entry by just being patient. Price did come all the way back down, and I ended up getting my entry here. We are currently floating at this point just under 1R in profit on this trade, which was, again, it was alerted to members inside of our VIP group. We'll see how this plays out. I would like to see the S&P 500 find its way back to the highs and perhaps break out this week. If it can happen, we'll be looking to trail stops and make some money on that move. We're currently floating $273 on this trade. It is a very small position. Well, it's a small position relative to the account, and I'm looking to see if we can catch a move here. I have not moved my stop loss. Stop loss is still below the lows of Friday's price action. You can see here my stop loss order here. So I am currently looking to be long S&P going into this week. We'll see if that plays out well for me, and we'll come back to that at a later point. There's a lot of markets we've got to get talking about here today, guys, and we will, of course, be heavily trying to anticipate, what could kind of form this week in terms of all the monetary policy stuff. One of the big ones, of course, that's going to be paying attention to it is gold, right? Let's take a look at gold here, XAU USD. And what you'll notice here is that gold, let's drop it down to a 4-hour chart. Gold has been very choppy. And, I mentioned here, if you guys watched my Sunday video yesterday, that I'm interested in being a gold buyer. I am bullish on gold, but what I would like to see is some form of sustainable breakout. So I showed you guys this S&P trade, right? And I talked about we had a sustainable breakout, pulled back to that area, and I picked it up long, both for a technical and fundamental perspective. I liked this trade, and that is why I'm in this trade. Now, of course, I'll show you guys the alert in just a moment that I shared, but let's first finish our thought with gold. I mentioned on my Sunday video that I'm looking for a breakout here because this area seems to be a very big headwind for the bulls. And what I mean by that is each time price tries to go up here, sellers come in strong and bulls cannot hold their gains. Okay. I'm looking for the nature of this market to change. I'm looking for something here to show signs of a breakout above this 1970 mark. So I would encourage you guys, if you have your chart pulled up with me, actually, let me ask you guys a quick question. If you guys are watching here and you've got your chart pulled up, like if you're doing analysis alongside me, type yes in the chat real quick. Let me know. It's always cool to see, a lot of people, I've had messages, I'll get like tagged on Instagram and something, and it'll be something like somebody's story. And they're like, I'm watching Nick's stream on one screen, and I've got my own analysis going on the other. I love to see that. And if you're not doing that, consider doing it. It's really good for you. I'm telling you, if you are a regular, look at this. Everybody's doing it. You guys are, what's up, guys? That's awesome to see. Everybody's putting in the grind this morning. We're doing it together. As Ivan would do, I'll give you guys a fist pump through the camera. That's cool to see. Everybody's typing yes in the chat. Love to see it. There's the fist bump. Boom, as Ivan would do. He's not making it on today, but in his honor, we'll do a fist bump. Yeah, so you guys are doing the analysis. Mark something for me on your chart. If you guys are watching gold, mark this 1970 mark. It's huge. It's a really important level because several times we're looking at a 4-hour chart. This is meaningful, higher time frame stuff. Even if you guys are trading the 15-minute or the 5-minute, I don't care. It's really important that you pay attention to this level because of how key it's been on price action in the last few days. Okay. I'm looking for a breakout here this week. This is what will get me interested. A break above 1970. Any pullbacks, I'm looking to get long. That's not a guarantee that that's going to work out, but I think it's a high probability trade because I think that if you're trading this now, drop down to the 1 hour with me. 1 hour chart, a break above this level could very quickly become a zone to zone move here for gold, meaning we very quickly capture 1970. Any retest could take us right up to 1980. 1980 is also a key level that I think you should consider charting. If you're looking at gold here with me, chart your 1980 level. This is also a very key level of resistance. Why? This even more important than the 1970 level. For the last few weeks, gold has found a lot of resistance in the 1980 mark. This is another area when we talk about these points. I am bullish on gold. We're going to hear from Frank in a moment. Him and I are both bullish on gold. Maybe we'll talk fundamentals with Frank a little bit on gold in a moment. If I'm fundamentally bullish on something, the next question is technically where are we looking for releases, like a dam release, right? Where like suddenly the water floods through. We're looking for those points in the chart. And where I think you get those are 1970 and 1980. These are the points where I think new buyers could rush in and push price higher. Does that make sense? Type yes in the chat if what we just went over there made sense. And did everybody mark their charts? This is like we're doing our charting together. That's where I'm at with gold. Of course, if your charts are going to look a little bit different than mine, we're not all going to have the same charts, but I think it's pretty clear to see that 1970 and 1980 are both key round numbers that the gold market seems to be paying attention to. Okay. So yeah. Yeah, let's keep going. So in terms of gold, I just mentioned technicals here. I also want to point out before we bring Frank in, I mentioned that I took a trade on the S&P, and I want to just quickly go over that with you guys. Let's see if we can find that. So swing trades, here we go. Okay, so I picked up S&P 500. I want to go over this just briefly with you guys and where we're at from a technical and fundamental perspective. So here's the trade, little recap on the trade. Picked it up on Friday. Stop loss below Friday's lows. So Friday's lows were right here, and that's where I ended up putting my stop loss. I picked it up on a retest of broken resistance. This was my entry. You can see there's my position. I've got I'm trading the ETF, but it's the same thing, S&P 500. I'm long. Price nicely moved up from there, rejected this area very, very nicely. And so far looking so good, but we'll see how the S&P performs this week. Now, what I want you guys to understand from a technical perspective is this is very, very simple. This is not magic. This is not rocket science. This is not fancy, it's very simple technical analysis. Breakout, retest, uptrend. I liked it, picked it up. That's not why I take all my trades though. Many traders rely purely on technicals. On this channel, on these streams, you'll notice that once, especially we bring in Frank here in a moment, it's fundamentals that we talk a lot about. These are why we pick up trades. So let's talk about the trade alert. Let's talk about the signal that went out inside of the group. S&P officially in a bull market. This was announced on Friday. I also spoke with Ed Moya, the senior market analyst at Oanda. We had a conversation on the Market Pulse podcast, which you guys should definitely check out. I am now a 2 days a week contributor to the podcast. It is an awesome, awesome podcast. And if you're a podcast listener, tune in. They announced it on Friday, and it's a change in pace. We're seeing the market risk on appetite growing here, and I am very willing to be long in that. Could it be the signs right before a reversal? Possibly, but in my opinion, momentum is momentum, and I'm trading it until it's no longer there. So cooling inflation numbers, which we will have confirmation this week with our CPI number coming out. I believe on Tuesday. Yep, Tuesday. Solid technical breakout, now retesting support, right? Again, there was the trade. Very simple concept, right? Break and retest. Technical breakout, retesting support, stop just below structure, Friday's lows. 1 hour candle showing a strong wick on the bottom, momentum play. We'll stop out necessary here today. So it didn't get stopped out. Well, actually, I had to re-enter the trade, but I stayed in. So my first trade did get stopped out for a small loss. My stop was a bit tight. I re-entered, widened the stop just a bit, and we've been able to stay in since. So this is the trade alert. If you guys do not have access to the Discord and you would like to join the Discord, we are currently doing our 50% off membership sale. We are announcing it today. Today is the first official day of the sale. And if you are not already in on membership, if you would like to join the group, you get to see the trades being taken by myself and Frank. In the chat right now, we're going to drop a link to a place where you can have a conversation with one of our support reps. This is what it looks like. If you click the link that just got dropped in the chat right here, we are doing a 50% off membership right now. Whether you get a monthly and try us out for 1 month, it's half off, and we've never done this before, and I don't know if we'll ever do it again. It is such a ginormous discount off of the memberships. Click here. This link is in the chat. Click this. 50% off VIP sale. It is ending soon. We're doing this very short period. Put your name, put your email, and you'll be connected with someone from our team right now who is in office who can get you access to the 50% off membership sale. It gets you access to everything inside of the Discord. If you become a member with us, you get access to the trade alerts, the position trades that I'm taking, the options trades that I'm taking. You get access to Frank's swing trades. He trades currency pairs, gold, and of course, you guys know Frank. If you watch the show, he'll be on in a moment, and also his stock trades. So if you guys want all of our trade alerts, as well as our coaching webinars with Ivan, which happen a few times a week, our chat rooms where you can meet other subscribers of this channel, as well as the A1 channel, do not miss it. It's 50% off right now. So take advantage, click in, connect with somebody on the team, and we will get you set up with a membership here today. And you can join in as we're trading the markets each and every day. So there you go. Now, real quick, we're going to hear from a sponsor. Look at this gold price, by the way. We had Frank in the back room. He has since left, but we'll bring him in, I think, in a moment. Whenever he's back, we'll bring him back. But anyways, gold again coming down. Seems to still be rejecting this 1970 mark. I've mentioned that my interest is on the long side if we can get a breakout above this area. And so we'll see if we can capture that area. That's where I'm at with this gold move here this morning. That's where I'm paying attention to is to see if we can get strength, but it does not seem like we're getting that right now. So we will we'll have to pay attention to that and see where we go. Yeah, look at that. Gold coming down hard here off of this resistance point. Yeah. So let's take a quick look at the dollar as well. Dollar finding some strength. Yeah. And guys, we're going to bring in Frank in just a moment. Before we do, we're going to run a quick commercial break from one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back with Frank.
Attention A1 Trading Show fans. If you're interested in getting free access to the Edge Finder or our premium trade alerts, listen up. For a limited time, our show's partnered broker 8cap is giving out free access to our products when you sign up for a new trading account with them. If you already have a broker, you may want to consider switching to 8cap because of their low trading costs, a wide range of trading assets, and their amazing customer support. If you'd like to get access to our software and Discord server for free, click the link being dropped in the chat right now and ask one of our team members for more information. Don't miss your chance for free products and an award-winning broker. Now back to the A1 Trading Show. Attention A1 Trading Show fans. If you're interested in getting free access to the Edge Finder or our premium trade alerts, listen up.
All right. Sorry about that. We ran it twice somehow. Hey, Frank, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Frank, gold coming down today. What are your thoughts? Dollar up, gold down. Is this going to last, or do you think the dollar weakness comes back in?
So I'm kind of trying to go off of smart money to help gauge predictions of what the Fed's going to do. So I think up until that point, we're just going to see a lot of weird moves in the market. But then again, gold is pretty unchanged from COT. There was a significant change in the number of shorts, which is kind of promising. They're getting rid of, the bearish biases. But overall, I guess still kind of mixed. The dollar looks pretty mixed as well, a slight lean to the short side. We got euro as well. I think that is also mixed or bearish. Yeah, euro is bearish. But based off of what COT is doing, it kind of looks like, so take a look at the yen. Yen is bearish. We're looking at a change in longs and shorts, which is a positive number of shorts added, negative number of longs added. So in other words, they took away their number of long positions. So they're probably looking at an unchanged rate, which is pretty expected from the BOJ, and then probably a bullish statement or a dovish statement overall from them. SPX kind of surprised me though, because
I was going to ask you about that.
A lot
You've
of
got
shares
S&P coming in long. I'm sorry, big increase in long, big decrease in short. That's probably, in terms of COT report stuff, that's probably the most interesting stuff we'd see today. S&P again, as you mentioned, 67.8 thousand long contracts added to S&P. At the same time, a large decrease in short positions. It seems like, Frank, we might be getting our first signs of smart money tipping the other direction on some of the stock market stuff. What do you think? Do you think that is something that persists?
It might. Once we hit that official bull market, things kind of changed, I feel like. But, for the past month or so, they were just picking up more and more shorts. They're getting more and more bearish on the stock market. And then once it hits these highs of the year, now all of a sudden they're bullish again. So it's a little confusing, but price is up against some major resistance, which was a high from 2022 in the 4,300s. So good spot here to see a pullback. And if it breaks above, then I see another test at the top of this channel. It never really did complete that move, but I can keep saying limited upside, but every time I do, it breaks to another level higher. So we'll see. I'm holding on to stocks. I saw you took a trade on the S&P, but I'm actually interested to know what your analysis is around it. Is it just like a shorter trade that you're trying to do, or hold on to this thing through the bull market?
Yeah. So I'll talk a little bit about the S&P trade that I'm in. I talked about this earlier. So I could show you the trade here on my screen. So I'm looking at the S&P, and price it was kind of a momentum play yesterday, Frank. I mean, granted, there was the announcements that, hey, official bull market and all that, and that initially popped the market. And I saw that as actually a very bullish thing. Now I know it's a little bit sketchy because it's like, oh my gosh, when people start shouting bull market, that's a little concerning. But I think that, although the market has been strong, and the S&P specifically has been strong, the NASDAQ has been incredibly strong. I think that there's a lot of people who are like now wanting to get back into stocks. Perhaps they bought into bonds, perhaps they have been cash heavy on the side. There's been a lot of money that's been waiting to deploy. And I think with like sort of the announcement of that, I think we get a lift. Now, I don't necessarily think that to your point about limited upside, I'm not necessarily against that idea either. I'm kind of trading just the momentum. I think right now there's a lot of optimism. Until that optimism fades or we see some sort of significant breakout the other way, I'm going to generally just be picking up the S&P 500 on pullback longs, because although yes, it's high, I'm a momentum trader and I'm looking to essentially in this case buy high and sell higher. I'm looking to try and capture momentum, and I'll stop out if I need to, but I'm not really bargain hunting on the S&P. I'm trying to just go with that momentum with a lot of optimism. And still the thing is, Frank, like there's optimism, but it's not an outright optimism yet. It's not like the Fed has said, we're not going to rate hike at all further. We are, they've basically still got this mantra of like, we're going to pause with the potential to rate hike later. And I think the market is still watching their narrative there and saying, they're cautious, they're fearful. I still think that, the economy is going to slow. It has been slowing. I think that's going to weigh in on the Fed's sort of next moves going forward. And with that, more optimism is going to continue to seep into the S&P 500 that, we had strong job. We still have a strong labor market. We still have, consumers are slowing, but they're not getting destroyed. And I think that there's this kind of narrative where like, okay, if the Fed is somewhat pausing and the economy sort of still kind of gradually slows, they may not need to put on the brakes too much. And these stocks, which are still overall holding up very well, could have explosive upside from there. Again, that's the bullish side. That's the optimistic side. I have a stop loss in my trade for a reason. If it does come underneath these structure lows, I'll be out and I'll look for another chance to try and long it. But, it's a momentum trade for me. It's not necessarily a value buy by any means. Frank, you and I, we picked up a lot of things over the 2022 drop and even early this year when things were still very low as sort of more longer term value buys. In terms of longer term investing, I'm not buying anything up here. And I'm talking, when I say longer term, for me, what that means is 2 to 5 year outlook. I'm not buying stuff, but momentum trading, I'm all over it. I'm trading, the S&P, potentially the NASDAQ. And we've got to talk about gold. Where are you at with gold? Are you still in a trade?
Yes. But to your point, yes, it is a trader's market indeed. Especially in the indices where things are range bound, things are making lower lows, then following up with higher highs, just bouncing off all these different trend lines. You draw a million of them and they will just respect it to some degree. And like, regardless of fundamentals, they'll just move, which to this point is something that I like to focus on too, for gold at least, is this long-term trend line, just how long it's held up for, and how healthy this uptrend has been over several months since November of last year. So we're coming up on this big level of support. It keeps wanting to stick to it, but it's also got a common bottom down here in the 1940s, 1930s. So overall, it looks like buyers are stepping in and they keep wanting to, prop this thing up. And I feel like at this point, if gold was meant to go lower, then, it would have happened after like that second or third attempt. So I'm still pretty bullish gold. Obviously, smart money was not very active, but I think what it's going to be is very volatile until we get that Fed announcement, what they plan to do going forward. I think expectations are pretty high. We're going to see a pause here, unless CPI is just out of the water, which I doubt it will be. So I think that there will be another rate pause, or our first rate pause, and then we'll go from there. But I think gold, as long as it's at this level, and as long as we're expecting a more dovish Fed statement, I'm pretty bullish gold. I see a test at the 2000s at least, and then hopefully at the highs later on.
Yeah, it's an interesting story watching the gold price. And Frank, I've been on the bullish side of fundamentally on gold as well. Part of the reason for it is it's all about the Fed, right? And the concept of a pause is a step in the right direction. I think, some people would argue a pause is just a pause because we've done so much before, it's a pause before we rate hike further. I think, we'll have to watch and see how the data plays out. You mentioned the key CPI number coming out tomorrow. And on Wednesday, we have the Fed's decision, where we also have some guidance to look forward to as well to see what that does. We also have several central banks reporting this week. We have the ECB on Thursday. It'll be interesting to see where generally the trends are headed. We did see some pretty hawkish stuff out of the BOC and RBA last week. That is Canada and Australia, respectively. But I think that, gold has been a little bit spooked by some of that recently. That's maybe why we see sort of a range-bound market in gold. Specifically, we could cross-examine, Frank. The gold market has traded pretty sideways. Because again, it is paying attention to a lot of central banks, right? It's not just paying attention to the Fed. It's looking at the RBA. It's looking at the Bank of Canada and saying, because people from outside of just the US are, of course, buying gold. In fact, gold is traded very heavily in the London exchange. So you have gold paying attention to lots of central banks, and it seems like the S&P 500 paying close attention to, of course, its central bank, the Federal Reserve. So it's kind of an interesting story because in one hand, you have kind of a pause-focused, perhaps optimistic stock market. I think, like I said, if I'm buying it for value, I'm very cautious up in these areas, but I'm trading it short term. I just think that, if you're looking at it for value, I could conjure up a bear case in the sense that, you're not out of the clear here. You're not, you're not buying, you're not getting it at the lows. We've had 6 weeks, 7 weeks of straight upside for the major indices. You're not getting value. So what are you buying it for? You're either buying in a momentum play, or you're perhaps getting caught up in some of the latecomer effect, where a lot of people who are now seeing, bull market, and they were super bearish going into this year and they were all in bonds. It's a little sketchy there. Frank, I don't want to keep you. I know we've got a busy day, lots of stuff to do here in the office. So thank you for coming on the show. You are our only guest today. We unfortunately didn't have Ivan, but as always, the crowd loves you. And everybody in the chat, say thanks, Frank, for coming on. And Frank, we'll see you back in the next show. See you later.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, always good to have Frank. Guys, a little context. Frank and I have been trading together for several years. We've learned a lot of things together. We are still learning a lot of things together, and we also build the EDGEFINDER together. So it's always good to have his perspective on the show. He's very much, when you guys, if you follow like our newsletters, if you follow our email newsletters, if you get our emails, if you get our telegrams, if you get our Discords, Frank's the readable content guy. So I'm the video guy. Frank is the readable content guy. He's very knowledgeable about this stuff. He's been doing it for a long time for us, and he does an amazing job. So thanks, Frank's in the chat going up. Good to see you. Thanks, Denise, for that. And D. Warner and everybody, thank you for that. Angus saying thanks, Frank. Appreciate you guys for that. So where are we left off? Well, I know I didn't do a lot of currency pairs today. It's because I've got some very close focus on gold and the S&P. So I apologize to the currency traders out there. I didn't pay too close attention to that. So let me just do a quick overview. I did mention Euro Yen as a trade I'm kind of interested in. I want to see how price is going here. So I'm going to feel a little left out here right now because I did end up getting stopped out of my Euro Yen trade. I picked it up last week, rode it for a little while. trailed stops underneath this structure and was stopped out here. Now we see it moving on without me. So that's a little bit frustrating, but that's trading. If you think you're going to avoid it, then best of luck to you. We have to trade on the right side of the screen. Unfortunately, we can't trade the past. It would be really easy. You know, I would just tell you, if I could trade the past, I would buy here, I would sell here, I'd buy here, I'd sell here, right? But we can't do that. So we have to trade on the right side. So where are we going forward? Well, trends still seem strong. I got stopped out of here for a profit. I mean, a profit's a profit, but it seems like this 149.7 level holds very nicely so far. If it retests, that might be another chance to try and get back in there. If we do get that, let's take a quick look at the euro while we're on euro pairs. Euro USD, higher time frame, still sketchy, I would say. You've got a daily chart here of key resistance. But bulls, if we can break out, I mentioned this in my Sunday video here. If you watch the Sunday video, you know that this level, I'm watching it for a breakout. I'm pretty bearish on the dollar for the same, Fed reasons that I'm very bullish on the S&P. I think that those there's been a little bit of correlation recently. We've seen the S&P and dollar moving together, but I think that breaks down at some point and you get a clear winner. Whether that's going to be the S&P or the dollar, we'll see. But I think the dollar, if I'm taking my pick, which as always, I can be wrong. If I'm taking my pick, I'm generally more interested in buying the indices than I am buying the dollar. Dollar, I think, could start to become weak. Again, this week is very interesting. We're expecting to see inflation come down again, and we'll watch that closely to see if that's going to stay very stubborn or if it's going to start to give. If it starts to give, guys, dollar comes crashing down, in my opinion. S&P 500 rallies very strongly. That's where I'm positioned, and we'll see if I'm right about that. This is the joy and the fun of markets, is nobody knows for certain what's going to happen. I do not know what's going to happen with CPI. I don't want to claim that I do. I'm just generally following the trends right now, which is inflation is slowly creeping down lower, and I don't want to use the word hoping, but I'm anticipating that we do see inflation to come down, as that's kind of been the trend. And I think that potentially weakens the dollar. Now, again, if something surprises us, I may need to adjust my thesis, but I'm looking to see if dollar can get weak and euro could break out some of these highs, right? So that's where I am focused going into this week. Pound USD now retesting a key level of support. We'll watch how this candle closes. This is a 4-hour chart. Pound has had a lot of momentum, so keep an eye on that. How will you manage your trade with CPI, please? I'm not going to move anything at this point. My concept for trailing a stop or moving my stop loss, I don't move it just because of news usually. I may, in some cases, just close a position if I need to, but I don't want to hug my stop loss really close just before a news event. We do have time though. So I'd like to see if we can get above. If we can break through the highs, I will certainly be looking to trail my stop loss. That's how I like to trail. When I see a higher high in an uptrend, that's generally where I'm going to try and trail my stop loss. So I'm watching for that. And of course, if you want updates for when I take my trades or update them, join us in the Discord. So every time I take a trade or I make an update to a trade, you can get direct notifications. If you want to get a text from me every time I place a trade, update a trade, so on and so forth, join the VIP. Check it out. It's 50% off right now. We have never done a 50% off discount ever, and it's available for a very limited time. Join us. This is the week to do it. We've got an incredibly busy week. We are trading CPI. We're trading the Fed meeting. We've got the ECB. We've got retail sales numbers. This is an action-packed week, and we're going to have commentary and trades throughout the entire week. If you're not in the Discord, this is the week to join. At the very least, try us out for a month at 50% off. If you've been thinking about it, get yourself a gold membership, half off. It is the biggest savings you're ever going to get on memberships. There's a couple reasons we're doing this. Number one reason, we want more people inside of the Discord. And of course, it's a service. We sell the service. So let me be transparent. We are selling something here, but it is genuinely worth the money. It's something for traders, by traders, genuinely. Frank and I are in here every day. We've got a staff of people that help us with memberships. It's a very well-run Discord because of my amazing staff. And if you're not already inside of the Discord, this is the week to do it. Click this link. Click 50% off VIP sales. And by clicking this, you're going to qualify for the 50% off sale off of any membership you want. You can get 1 month, half off. 1 year, half off. Gold lifetime, half off. If you don't have it already, click this link, chat with us right now, and ask somebody for the 50% off discount. They'll hook you up, get you set up with your membership before the markets really get moving, where things are going to be super busy this week. This is going to be a crazy week. So join us and do not miss out. And we'll see you guys inside of the group. Thank you very much for tuning in today's live stream. I hope you got something out of it. Plenty of ideas and lots to set up for this week. We'll be covering the whole thing here on the channel. Subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. We'll see you guys next week. Or sorry, next time. See ya. What's up?
Dude, what happened to you?
Haven't you heard? It's the summer half off discount sale.
Oh, that's right, I forgot.
Right now only, get half off any of our VIP Discord memberships. These memberships include access to our signals, where you can get entries and exits from Frank and I, and full breakdown and analysis with each trade. You can learn our strategies in detail. You can learn how to get funded with our training material to help traders looking for funding. And you can also join the chat room community. We have several membership opportunities, so click the link and check them out for yourself. And remember, you get half off if you either message us or use the discount code you see on the screen now.